It's being called the hot labor summer.
American workers across multiple industries are on strike.
Strikes.
Largest healthcare strike in the nation's history.
UPS workers are getting closer to striking.
Okay, Writer's Strike 101. What are we fighting for?
There certainly was a time when a much larger percentage of hourly workers were working in what we would call unionized workplaces. That has decreased substantially over time, probably starting to decrease beginning in the 1970s, 1980s. And now we're seeing in some ways an uptick in interest and perhaps some reflection on what was lost through this downward shift in the number of unions that were operating across workplaces.
But we're talking about a demographic that is coming into the workforce now with an attitude like corporations don't really care about us. And you have employers who are making their brand on being progressive. But when it comes to labor relations, all of a sudden they've turned into robber barons and they got big cigars in their mouths. Labor law reform is needed. It's critical. We have a statute that is 88 years old. And we have such new innovations in how business is being performed.
We see technology and society moving in particular directions, and then we find ourselves trying to keep up with what that means for employees and for workers. Strikes and collective bargaining have created a space for workers to advocate for themselves instead of having to wait for the legislators to catch up. I think many workplaces are struggling, right, with what it means to deal with AI in the workplace, what it means for their workers and workers' rights, what it means for, in terms of corporations and their use of information. AI is moving at such a fast pace, right? The ways in which that technology can be used is moving much more quickly than any regulation or legislation around the use of AI. That's really unique in a space that's unionized, that you have the opportunity in some ways to get a little bit of a jump on that conversation. And so the union's ability to bargain around this, I think, is really important, because it gives them a chance to actually navigate the AI issues without having to wait for regulators and legislators to catch up.
We don't just live to work, we work to live. And what has been demonstrated in this experience is that there is not sufficient sensitivity for our lives and well-being, and we're not going to take it anymore.